Hi everybody and welcome to this session. Before I get started, I would like just to tell you a little bit about the house rules. So we have you all have the GoToWebinar functionalities in your tool out there, but you will all be mic'd during this session. But you can ask questions in the chat pane as well. So if you have any questions, simply just write them in there and we'll be able to take them at the end of the session. There will be a minimum of 5 minutes break between sessions, so you will have plenty of time to be switching to another track if you want to do that. The conference will be recorded and distributed as well, so you'll also be able to go in there and see other stuff that you might haven't had the time to see in here because you were in this track maybe. You can go to the hub if you need any technical help or you have other requests. All questions from either the chat or the hub will be registered, and we will follow up on those. Okay, so first of all, once again, welcome to everybody into this session about methods for measuring user adoption. So my agenda for today, first of all, I'm gonna tell you very shortly a little bit about myself. Then I'm gonna be talking about how to measure user adoption. I'll be talking about KPIs. I'll be talking about pre and post test solutions, and I'll also be talking about why should we actually be measuring. At the end, as I said, we will have time to take questions. So first of all, first point for today, measuring user adoption. Measuring the effect of user adoption when implementing a tool like ClickLearn can be done in many different ways. I've divided this into two different categories, being the indirect category and a direct category. So what do I actually mean about this indirect category? Basically, it's about measuring the end user's consumption of the learning content that's given to them. For example, a learning portal created with ClickLearn Studio. Are they using the learning portal or not? This can be investigated through the dashboard in ClickLearn Studio or through looking into OData, extracting the OData and investigating the OData as well. And if you have a learning management system, you will also be able to investigate through your own LMS, and in that way, in the learning management system, it can be good in order to measuring the skills of the end users. For those who have a learning management system, I also hope that you also know that we can create SCORM packages using ClickLearn Studio. So you can directly import them into your learning management system, and that way you'll be able to go in there and investigate. So by indirect, I mean not measuring the adoption, but maybe the will to adopt, or at least the trying to get there. So the readiness of the end users, that's what you actually can measure in that term, right? If we look into the direct way of measuring, can be done through setting up KPIs. It could be maybe looking through support tickets and seeing either an increase or hopefully maybe a decrease of support tickets, or maybe even implementing a pre and post test solution to directly measure the level of adoption. If we, as you know, KPIs can be vary a lot depending on the business or the business area. So if you want to set up KPIs, there could be different ways of setting them up. So I'm just gonna point out some examples here for you. So in example, sales KPIs could be new contract signed, a value for the new contract signed, so dollars or euros, number of qualified leads in the sales funnel, average time to be converting them into sales. If it's within the finance area, it could be growth in revenue, net profit margin, gross profit margin, and so on. And if we look at other KPIs, it could be percentage of the market share, number of support tickets, as we already talked about, and average ticket or support resolution time might also be something that we need to look into. Employee satisfaction rating, monthly website traffic, and stuff like that. So it can vary a lot what you need to set up of KPIs. Here are some key elements that you might want to think about when setting up KPIs. So first of all, they need to have a specific purpose for the organization or for the business area. You need to be able to convert the numbers into something measurable. Comparing the numbers to previous measurements. So that's not always that we can do this, but it's if we can, that's of course what we want to do. But if no data is previous, maybe for a new project, you might need to set up some expectation or expected goals. When you set up the goals, these also need to be, of course, achievable, relevant, and also time targeted. So that's all we need to do if we want to have this being a measurable KPI. Measuring the amount of support tickets, as I mentioned, in a specific time period might actually be one of the KPIs that you want to be measuring when implementing a new project, for example. Pre and post-test solutions. So there are also a lot of tools out there developed specifically to measure the effect of user adoption. These are typically based on questionnaires, so with a pre and post test, and maybe also job test after 3 months to determine if the training was targeted correctly to the audience. And these tests are built to measure the effect of the training by measuring the knowledge, both before and after the training. But they could also be set up as behavioral tests or testing the attitudes toward the new business process, ways of working with a collaboration tool, and so on. These tools, I think they could be very good. I've been working with some myself as well. They could be very good and also very advanced. So it will take some time to implement this. So in itself, it can be a big implementation project requiring new skills of trainers and others. So if we look into why should we actually be measuring, there we go. Oh, why should we actually be measuring? So the end users, how are they adopting the solution? So why are we doing this? So if we get good results, this will of course justify the tool that we are working with, or the work that has been developed and put into, in example, creating a learning portal. And this will of course give us the return of investment as well, and so on. But what if we get bad KPIs, bad results from the measuring? This is of course not the end of the world, but this is what actually gives us an opportunity to change. Either the way we are measuring, the content that we've delivered, in example, being a learning portal. We need to analyze the result, of course. We need to get feedback maybe from the end users, or maybe even send out a survey to clarify what the next steps might be. So by looking into support tickets and investigating where are the issues that the end users are having, and that based on that information, we could go into looking into should we adjust any of the training content that we put out there already? Are we missing some important processes, parts of processes, or maybe an important note somewhere? We can all look through all this in the dashboard in ClickLearn Studio. So in here, we can see if the end users are utilizing the content in the learning portal that we provided. So this is also a way of investigating why we're having a bad result. If they're not using it, then of course we need to encourage them to use the learning portal. It's very easy to set up a learning portal like this, and in ClickLearn, it's called a shelf. And when you do this, you'll be able to monitor the consumption of the content and get feedback from the end users, both in ratings and in comments. So I really encourage you to be setting up these trackings and track on yourselves in there so you can get all the feedback that you can get from them. Of course, we wish to strive for good results and that we are able to support the adoption of the new collaboration tool. And I also and understand the result is most important, right? So if we don't understand it, we need to learn how to understand this. So I'd like to end my presentation here with a quote from a very wise man. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So there will be a simple solution to why you're getting bad results out there maybe, and you are able to find out why and you can fix it. Okay, so that actually concludes my session for now, and I would like to go on to the next point here, and that's the questions. So please put in your questions in there. And Christine, do you have any in there as well?
I don't have
see any
I
questions?
don't see anything. I don't see anything yet.
Okay.
But any questions at all? Feel free to share.
Okay, we still have some time, so if you are thinking about any questions out there, please just put them into the chat, and we will be able to take your questions as we go. And of course, if you come upon any questions later on, you can simply just okay, now a question coming in there, right?
Yes, the question is, are you able to demo the OData feed?
No, I'm not able to. Sorry, I'm not able to demo that right now. But I'm sure that we can find some information for you. Thank you for that question, Michael. But I don't have any available right now. And of course, if you get the OData feed, then of course you need to look into what part of this OData do we actually want to be utilizing and filtering on that and so on. So it's pretty raw data. Yeah. Any other questions?
Could we have another one?
Oh, no, that's it. Okay, that's fine, Michael. Okay, you actually received the instructions from Morten. Happy to hear so. Morten, fantastic guy in our support. So yeah. Any other questions out there? Feel free. Okay, so yeah, so I don't think there's going to come any more questions in here. So I just want to end the session here and thank you all for attending this session. I hope you got a little bit of inspiration on how to get it started in investigating how you get your results out there. So and how you do with user adoption. So thank you all for attending in here, and wish you all a very nice day and evening.
Great. Thank you, Lars.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.